Hi, Kate. Nice to meet you. Congratulations for this beautiful film. I really love that it focuses in the love connections and not in the dark side of the characters. And your performance shows a very intimate emotional range. What aspects of the character challenged you the most, and how did you prepare to portray that vulnerability on screen?
First of all, thank you for saying that. It's one of my favorite things about this movie too, and I think Craig did such an incredible job with that, and it's very hard to do that. Um, and for me personally, I think the most challenging things are probably the things that go alongside what you're talking about, which is like there is a fine line of like, I think it was honestly committing to the full essence of Claire. I showed up with my accent. I really wanted to lean into the Wisconsin accent. I was a little concerned that maybe they would want to pull back from being like, fully committed to it. And Craig was like, no, we're like leaning in hard. You're going to commit completely to this. And that got me very excited, because it allowed me to have a lot more freedom to just be as committed as possible to that transformation. And then I think that the things that were the most challenging for me would have been, in those moments of, tracking the demise, sort of tracking it, and the sort of subtlety of going down to then finding to like her rebalancing, the recalibration. I call it sort of like, for me, it was like the image of it for me was like the physicality wasn't necessarily difficult to play. It was the mental with the physicality, like and then at the Holly Holy scene, it's sort of all like she completely reconnects back to the love and that connection with him. So it was really more like the tracking of it with Craig and crafting it and getting the levels as we were shooting it. That was, when you start to take your work really seriously. Because I think it's interesting when you're playing someone who's a real person, how important it becomes, because you just want to get it right for them. But that, I think, was probably the most challenging, was that kind of middle part of the movie, and the how far deep and down we go. Yeah, I think there's a fight scene. It probably must have been the hardest scene for Craig to edit, was that fight, because we went to so many places in that fight. There's like, probably 10 different cuts. I don't know this, but I'm saying that he could 10 different layers of that fight that we did. And that was one of those days that I'll never forget, because Hugh and I, it was one of those great work days. We were like, we really went to different places. And at one point after the fight, we kind of just sat there for 20 minutes and like cried. And that's the stuff, I know it sounds weird, but that's the stuff you sort of live for as an actor,
Thank you very much.
Como siempre, los invito a que se suscriban a nuestro canal, a que activen las notificaciones y a que compartan con sus amigos este contenido para que nuestra comunidad de amigos del cine siga siendo cada vez más grande.